Okay, I'm getting started here with coloring the pro Donald Trump University cartoon. And first thing I need to do is I've just scanned it and stuck it together. Is well, here you can see my Wacom tablet and how I work on my Wacom Cintiq, and it's very nice, and it's right here on the table in front of me. And not quite the button that I thought I would push. Here we go. So, I need to come in here and take out all the hickeys. Then I'm going to adjust the lettering so that it's a little more perfect than what I happened to just now draw. This eye is looking a little thin. A little bit of odd character to have a couple little bits. Oh, looks like I messed up his ear here, didn't I? I didn't get my scan pieces together quite elegantly. Let's fix that right through there, and there, and there. Move it right there. I think that worked. I don't know if this bit didn't line up either, did it? Just missed a spot when I was putting in the bits from my multiple passes on the scanner. Alright, let's go out a little. Clean up some chunks. This isn't too dirty as these things go, and I find that you expect it to be much dirtier since I draw in pencil, but it's not really dirtier than if I was doing it in ink. They still come out with all these hickeys when you scan. And I want to draw in such a way that it looks like I'm quick and easy, which means that I'll have little errors from being a little too quick and easy. And this is the time to come back and clean those up. And I'll have this done in just a second. Of course, the name of the newspaper is newspaper. unusual for me to draw these people so large. Aside from that, it's unusual for me to do a cartoon that is so wordy. And unusual for me to do the pro-Trump cartoon. So much unusual here. All right. Next. Save this. Let's adjust that lettering. Make it grayscale so I can move things around. I think. Let's select the color range of white and delete it. Fill with white on the background. That'll free me up in moving around the type to be a little messier. A little bigger. Now, I think these next two lines, I was getting bigger and I was falling off as I was doing my lettering. So these two lines are probably just about the right size. Boy, this would be hard if I didn't have the Wacom Cintiq thing. Oop. It's my phone ringing. I need to silence it. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's give it a little bit of, tiny little bit of tilt that way. Just a little bit more down. That looks okay. Now here, this bit can come up a little bit. Looks good. Now that lettering's looking better, I think. Maybe the top line's a little small. size this? Make it grayscale. Well, first let's save it again. Save as Trump University 400 dpi. Want to grayscale it. Command Shift N, return to create new layers. That was too many layers. I was hitting the button too fast. That's looking better. Bring that up there. Select the wide area. Okay. Delete all. Fill. Okay. Now let's make the image CMYK. Don't merge. Okay. Wait for it to think. Over here. Now, let's select some of this black. And what color is it? It's muck, so let's make it 0, 0, 0, 100. Okay. And we want to let's delete and fill 100%. And that is not 100, so I'm going to have to fill a couple more times. See if we can get it to really be 100. And what is it? It is 100. Alright, good. And that top layer needs to be multiply. Save. Okay, good. Okay, now let's save this as a second one so I can use this same base to do my grayscale. Now, color. What color do I want it to be? Well, pretty much any choice if I'm just looking at the background here. I can go people like blue, let's make it blue. Oh, I'm getting messages. Bacon TV writes, I just wanted to say that Trump is a huge racist. Okay. Nadm Comics says, hello there, Joe. Okay, guess what? I'm in Twitch too. Let's follow each other. What do you say? I'm pretty easy. Okay, first, let's put in some background color. Oh, I'm still at 4,000 dpi, aren't I? Let's change the image size to 400. And that should be colorable. There we go. soften it up, make that a little smaller, a little bigger. I'm going to put in a little light blue background. Okay, that'll give me a base here to work with. Bacon TKB, yes, if I disagree with the notion that Trump is a racist. I think most of our cartoonists think Trump is a racist. But I don't want to go on a Trump racist rant like everybody else. My feeling about him is that I dislike him about equally to Hillary. Go with the devil you know or the devil you don't. Alright, let's do some texture here. Put in a little bit of this white texture, break up the edges. Ooh, that's a little too much. Okay, that's probably about all I need from a background here. Let's give them some flesh tone, and the flesh tone has to be opaque enough to right on top of the background. So let's say 3, 20, 20 for base flesh tone. This would be flesh base layer. To lay in some, oops. That looks a little rough, doesn't it? A little lighter. I'll come back and put some lighter flesh into the flesh and then some darker flesh into the flesh, and that'll be about as much flesh as I need. This is, after all, just a newspaper cartoon. Oh, Comey, hey, nice to see you here. And Bear Edwards as well. So Bear Edwards says, hey y'all, how were the Rubens? The Rubens were really very nice this year. It was in Memphis, and We had a bunch of lovely parties, and they put on a very impressive Reuben night show. And I got to reconnect with a whole bunch of my old buddies that I only see every year at the Reubens. So it was really quite nice. The new NCS president, Bill Morrison, had his first Reubens that he put on, and he did a great job. Very impressed with him. I think the NCS is healthy and going strong. So, all good on the NCS front, I think. I enjoy the NCS. I was president of the NCS 16 years ago. It's an eternity, just about forgotten. Okay, now let's give them, we can give them a little bit of lighter flesh. I think I'll do that right now. So, Okomi, Bear Edwards, nice to see you here. Yeah, I was gone at the NCS. You read my blog. Gone at the NCS. And then gone bookkeeping. Do you know, I run this little newspaper syndicate for the editorial cartoons, and I've got to pay everybody's royalties at the end of every month. It takes me time. I have not delegated that to anyone. Can't really delegate that. And then other stuff comes up. Always a bunch of stuff. I spend much too much of my time doing business stuff rather than drawing. I should be doing a cartoon every day. I usually do well to do 2 a week. Okay, there's the light to dark aspect of them. I can give them some pink in the cheeks. Let's try that. Let's go with 33. Yeah, that's pink. And a little bit of lighter. And a little bit of pink in the cheeks. The ears. Makes them seem like they're really alive. I can give her some red nose too. She's probably an old lush, don't you think? Oh, Bear Edwards, you like that Enos cartoon? You know, one of the readers pointed out that our cartoonist from Slovakia, Shudi Shudovitz, had already drawn the same cartoon. And we didn't get editor complaints about that. I think that's probably just because he's Slovakian and people don't pay as much attention to the foreign cartoonists in our group as the American cartoonists. But yeah, Shudi drew the same cartoon a month ago. It was pointed out to me. I got back from the Reubens to a bunch of complaints from editors about that Randall Enos cartoon with Donald Trump mounting the Statue of Liberty doggy style, which, as I say, is just what Shudi drew. No other syndicate, I should say, would distribute that cartoon, I'm sure. And I just have a policy that I go farther than the other guys do. wordy. Okay, is that really what I want? Maybe I want to be down here in the dark. So they complained that it was in the syndicated package, that not that it was in print. That's right, the syndicated package goes to the editors, and the editors decide what to print. So, you know, the editors are friggin' editors. They decide what goes in their own paper. Not us, we just give them stuff to choose from. But sometimes they object to what we give them to choose from. They shouldn't have to look at such things. We should not present them with such alternatives. And I have no doubt that that Shooty cartoon is not going to get reprinted much. But still, the idea that you're insulted by a choice that you're not going to make, that's pretty outrageous. The other syndicates are very aggressive in what they choose not to show to editors. And a lot of the discussion at these cartoonist get-togethers with editorial cartoonists getting together is bitching and moaning about the cartoons that their syndicate killed. And it is almost always a matter of cartoon being too sexually suggestive. As with Randy's cartoon, perhaps Randy's cartoon wasn't so much suggestive as demonstrative. Alright. A little more dark on her. I should say too that editorial cartooning is a negative art form. You don't draw positive cartoons. This cartoon is a positive cartoon, I think, for Trump, but still it's phrased in a negative way, putting down every college. Positive cartoons just suck. And no one should be surprised that they don't see any positive Trump cartoons. We do get complaints about not having positive Trump cartoons. That's probably all these guys need. Let's give her some lipstick on layer 6. That looks pretty good. Fingernail polish too. Alrighty. I think I'm gonna give them light yellow speech balloons. Light yellow is pretty unobjectionable. Tongue color. So I'm gonna do the balloon maybe 66. Let's try that. Well, Okomi Bear Edwards, you do a great job of showing up when I'm here, finding me for my unannounced sessions, and nice loyal followers. I appreciate that. It's nice to see the same faces here. Nice that you look at my blog and you know what's going on. I appreciate that. I need to remember to make layer 0 multiply. Alright, I did. Sometimes I forget that. What choosing multiply does is it makes your colors print underneath, which is what you want on top of the black lines. You want the colors to show up underneath the black lines, rather than having them knock a hole out of the color that's underneath them. Bear Edwards writes, glad to be here when I can. I'll catch the drawing replay later. Can't stream at work. Go figure. Well, I didn't have very many people chatting when I was doing the drawing. I think I only got one odd comment from someone that was probably a troll trying to get me to go to a link. So I didn't have quite that much to say. This is kind of an odd drawing for me as well, because I don't usually draw anonymous old couple with such big heads. And I don't usually do cartoons that are so wordy. I think it's kind of a virtue for editorial cartoonists to do wordless cartoons. Certainly in the eyes of international cartoonists, that's what you should do as a cartoonist. Cartoons should be wordless. But sometimes you want to make a point that has to be made with words. In this case, I think everything that Trump University has been accused of is all pretty nasty, but all pretty darn ubiquitous among colleges, particularly art colleges, which are just notorious for taking the poor students' money and docking them up with student loans, and then sending them out in the world with crummy art skills because they shouldn't have accepted them in art school in the first place. You can pretty much tell when a kid applies to art school whether he's going to be a successful artist or not. Because people, A, have talent, and B, if they're going to be successful, they've been drawing like crazy for a long time since they were kids before they applied to go to college. And that is absolutely obvious when the kids apply for college. So it's just heinous of these places to take in all of these kids that they know are not going to be successful and build up their student debt and fleece them and knock them out the door without job skills. Now that said, I think the job skills that they were giving the students at Trump University were probably more saleable than the art school skills that they give to the art students. So on this issue, I have some sympathy for Trump. Comey writes, the student loans amount to a house. I think I read somewhere that most, there's this crisis of student loans everywhere. I think I read that most of them amount to $80,000 average loan that students come out of college with. And I think what I've been reading on Trump University was that they were asking for 35,000. Part of the issue with Trump University is that it's not really a university, it's a series of seminars. So, I guess your point, Okomi, is that in going to college to learn about how to buy a cheap house, they end up owning a negative house in the form of their student loan. A negative house, which is kind of an amusing concept. Yeah, there might be a cartoon in that, if I could figure out what it was. So her hair needs to be a little on the blue side. Give her some hair texture. I do like that idea of a negative house. You could make that into a math equation. Alright. Well, now they need some clothes. The newspaper, I guess, is white, isn't it? Just white. Where's the table? Table could be yellow as well. That ties in with the balloons. Why don't we do that? Make the table yellow. Oh, I've got the wrong tool. One of the nice things about watching the streams of this stuff online is that you can, on my darylkegel.com site, is you can bump up the speed, watch it at twice speed, and then it is twice as interesting. Oh, also I have some books out now. I did 4 coloring books. There's a Donald Trump coloring book, Hillary Clinton coloring book. Oh, you're not seeing the bottom, are you? Sorry. Donald Trump coloring book, Hillary Clinton coloring book, Barack Obama coloring book, and Greedy Crooked Wall Street coloring book. Let's collect them all. Go to kegelbook.com. Excellent coloring books. You got the bottom of the panel there. I should have done that underneath the flesh, huh? Easily fixed. Now let's give it a little bit of add a layer. Oops. Give it a little bit of shadow. Okay, I guess I'm gonna need to make his newspaper. His newspaper's gotta be a little bit gray, doesn't it? Let's do that. Say 8%, 5%. Let's go with 8%. That way I can put a little bit of white sponge texture on it. I can make the cup white in front of it. That should be 76% is fine. There's a little trick too if you're coloring more seriously, which is if you make everything just a little bit transparent so that it has a little bit of the background showing through it, that but just a little bit so that you don't really notice it. It makes things look like they're living in the same world, and it's really very effective at making things look like they belong, like the colors aren't selected randomly and wrongly. Something you would do if you were coloring things realistically, or a little more thoughtfully than I do in editorial cartoons. Okay, I can give that a little bit of pattern. 30, alright. See, that just lets it have a little bit of texture that makes it look like the newspaper is on the same paper that I'm drawing on. And then I can put in a little bit of gray in places. And I guess these cups should be white, huh? White coffee cups. They don't have to be, but kind of expect a coffee cup to be white. I don't want all this, you know, this is basically a word gag. I don't want the art to detract from the gag, so the art kind of, by the nature of a cartoon like this, the art has to kind of not be too interesting. Which is frustrating for cartoonists who like to have interesting art. This one is just words. Let's give them some coffee. black. Now, clothes. Clothes will be a great example of wanting to make these things a little transparent. A little less than 100% opacity. Let's go with pink for her. Nah, not that pink. Not that pink. How about that pink? Well, she could be purple. Maybe purple's better. Let's go with 20, 40, 15, 50. 10, 30. That's better. 10, 30. Yeah, that's good. Because I don't want her dress color to command your attention. I want it to be a color. I want it to be a feminine color because she's female. But I don't want you thinking about her dress color. Probably enough dress color for you to know that she's got dress color. I can put a little dollop of purple texture on it. Let's do that. 30, 68, alright. There, I think that kind of works. As much as she needs. How about we do him with green? Good dull green. Yeah, looks good. Go with that. 58. Alright. So the table, the yellow on the table draws more attention than the flesh and the clothes colors on the main characters. Which is an oddity for me. Give him some texture as well. You can have a little bit of gray texture too. Alright. Now, what else do I want to do? I give them eye color. Let's do that. Actually, it's kind of like the eye color of his shirt. Woo! Hey, Emmanuel Algots, thank you for following. You're my first follow today. That's very nice of you. Well, that's too dark. Look at that. She looks like some kind of zombie. How about that? Yeah, that looks a little more correct. A little bit of nothing going on. And maybe a little bit of kill the yellow. That could be his eye color. Yeah, good enough, I think. So, next question is this all I want? I think I want a little bit more, blue stuff going on. I'm trying a different blue. Is there anything on that layer I need? Let's use another layer. New layer. Because I might not like this. Bring that up. Oh, that was dark. I wanted a little bit of, that was too dark too. 10%, that's too dark. Suppose I should give them a little bit of chair color. Try that. Not much of a color. Now, I think you use a little more pink in the cheeks. I'm going to do that. I have to remember that when this is reprinted, the colors darken up and the contrasts beef up. And that can be disturbing. He needs a little bit of blue in the hair, I think, too. Not blue, maybe a little bit of gray in the hair. Okay. Pink in the cheeks. Pink under the chin as well. Lots of cartoonists will really overdo the pink noses. But I understand why they do. Pink noses are rewarding. Probably should draw old people doing stuff more often just because it is newspapers. Like the Pickles and Pluggers effect. Okay, let's give her a gold earring. Well, she needed more of a gold earring than that. Color in that. Well, that was pretty too much for a gold earring. sure I like any of that. Too much attention. Alright, now let's try the purple. Yeah, that's better. That's as much earring as she needs. Well, okay. So here is my pro-Trump cartoon. I need to do a black and white version. Alright, so let's save this. And we'll I'll save as save a flat version. Flatten it. Let me save this in my place where I need to save it to send it out. So give me just a second here. It's been a long time since I've drawn a cartoon because of all this being away for stuff. 1, 1, 2, 3. Trump University for DPI. Alright. Save. And I'm also going to save it as a CMYK JPEG. See, that was 5.2 megabytes. So save it as a JPEG 9. And that will be, should be the right size. 2.8 megs. Plenty small. I'm going to start upping the size. Hello, Gear Porsu. Nice to see you here. I haven't seen you here before. If you haven't followed, please follow. Okay. So that is that. Let's see what it looks like in black and white. Grayscale. Okay. Oh, terrible. It just makes the whole friggin' thing gray. So let's undo that. And let's open what I had before. Oh, hey, thank you so much, Gear Posu. I appreciate it. So I like to create another black and white image for the newspapers that print in black and white for the very reason of what you just saw. When I just turned this color image into grayscale, it just became a gray haze over everything, which is terrible. So first, on this grayscale version, save as gray. First, I need to go onto this layer and select all of the yellow because well, do I want to select it at the bottom? I'm not sure I do. So let's rethink that. I'm going to select all the yellow in this area and fill with white, which is what it needs for the grayscale version. You don't want to have just lightly gray speech balloons. And the table can probably stay the way it is. Let's merge those. So clearly what I need to do is lighten up their flesh tones, which frankly is what I need to do every time I do something like this. And then I need to put a little bit more texture into the background. See, the problem is that most newspapers still print mostly black and white, and so you have to consider what you're giving them. Otherwise, very often I like to give them just the line art, because this piece works with just line art. But if I do that, I find what the editors will do is they'll take the color version and they'll grayscale it, and they'll end up printing that thing with the gray haze over everything that we just looked at. And I don't know why they prefer that, because I think a lovely line art cartoon is like an elegant thing, but they do. And so I need to prepare a grayscale image for them, which is correcting that haze over everything issue that I want to deal with. Anyway, thank you for the follow, Gear. I appreciate it. Also, the darkness of the red noses doesn't make much sense in black and white. You want the noses to be lighter. Fold people and give them a little bit of character with the dark stuff. Circles into the eyes or something. This is just to make it look reasonable in black and white. The newspaper needs to be a little lighter too. Maybe the table color. Just doing a bunch of dappling at 20%. Pink I put into her cheeks in color doesn't make any sense in black and white. And the pink in the cheeks doesn't make any sense. Alright. We can bump this up a little bit. Down a little bit. Put some white in the newspaper. Newspaper doesn't need to be so dirty in black and white. That makes a little more sense. Now, I see my face camera is frozen. Yipes. Oh, first time that's happened today. Let me get that. Gone. And I'm back. See if that worked. Sorry about that, folks. Alright, what was I doing just now? I was doing the table, huh? Okay, I need to do some darker background texture. Let's add another layer for that. That was the first freeze I've noticed. do with more texture in a black and white image without it being too disturbing. I can do that down here. All right. Well, perhaps that is done. I think it is. You can have just a little bit of more white on the glasses. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, that looks like I've about got it. Upper lip. I can futz with things endlessly. And at some point I've got to stop. Alright, let's call this that point. I'm stopping. Oh, her ear bothers me a little bit. Here, just a skosh. Alright, I think they're there. This is the black and white version. Save. And I'm gonna flatten. Oh, Comey, glad you're happy today. Keep coming back. Tell your friends I do need more followers. I suffer from not announcing when I'm going to do these in advance, which is entirely my own fault. Alright, let's save as. And that goes back to here, and that will be item number 1123B. It's the 1123rd cartoon that I've done since deciding to number my cartoons, and before that I didn't give them numbers, and so it is an entirely unmeaningful number, but it is a number that that I appreciate and adhere to. Alright, so we've got that's a TIFF. Okay, and let's try saving it as a JPEG. Well, the TIFF was 2.7, so I don't have to save it as a JPEG. It's smaller than 3.5, and I'm going to up my maximum size and try to encourage all of my artists to increase their resolution on their cartoons as well. So that's going to be a journey for me. It's very difficult to get cartoonists to do something like that. It's like trying to convince them to floss. But I'm going to make the effort, and I may increase my own resolution as well. So exciting changes are in store. Okay, so that's it for today, and I'll do another cartoon soon. I said that the next cartoon that I do is going to be how to be an editorial cartoonist with Trump and all of the Yahtzee things. You know, Trump hair on monuments, Trump hair on monsters, Trump hair on Hitler and Godzilla and the Lincoln Memorial, and Trump on Mount Rushmore, all the stuff that everybody is drawing in spades. And I figure I'd thump it all together in the same cartoon and call it How to Be an Editorial Cartoonist, and that's what my cartoon's going to be. So join me next time if you can find me, follow me, and you get a ping or something. So that is it for today, and thank you so much, folks, and I'll see you next time. And that is the end of our recording. Let me give you a couple of claps, and I will see you next time.